Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour. Let's make up reality. Oh my God, there was an assassination attempt on Trump, and he didn't get on Air Force One. He got on another plane and flew away. Sure. Listen to this story. And remember one thing when Trump was president in 2020, he assassinated Soleimani, an Iranian official. Yeah, with a missile. But this story doesn't even come close to reality. But listen to this and how people get hoodwinked into the Western media machine.
Someone tells me, Murray, they've just killed Trump, they're evil, they're an evil government. I would tell that person, I'm like, look, I don't advocate for killing Trump. But what would you expect for when Trump killed their leader and their leaders and declared war on them that wasn't necessary and that was unprovoked? What would you expect them to do? So this is why it's a very tricky position. I don't have the answer, but it's I just don't think the Iranians should kill Trump, but I also don't think Iranians, as you said at the end, I don't think they want to kill Trump for various reasons. One of them, the reason you said, is that there's no purpose to it. It doesn't advance. They want to control the Strait of Hormuz. They want to get their assets unfrozen, etc. It makes it harder to achieve those objectives if they kill Trump. So yeah, I don't think. But then I have a counter. I want to challenge my own thought, and with the one you've just said. So if this story, why was it released now? First, do you think the story is true? Because Trump was taken out of the Air Force One on that catering truck.
No, do I think it's true? No, I don't think it's true. But I think if the Iranians really wanted to kill Trump, they would have made a decent effort at it. But I think they've been content to just drive the United States out of the Persian Gulf. Again, I'm always suspect with these stories that they get ginned up conveniently at a particular time, and you always got to say, okay, what's the sourcing? Why is this coming out now? What's making this a story now?
Why do you think? So if the story is not true, and I'm not saying it's true or not, because I have no opinion on it. But if it's not true, so you're saying that Trump was taken on a catering truck, or you think that was fabricated? If you had to guess,
I think it's fabricated. Well, they may very well have done so, but it's like, so what? If there'd actually been an attempt, if there'd actually been because the premise is that let's put it this way, if the Iranians were really going to do that, and the original, the Qatari version of Air Force One took off, right?
Mm.
And the Iranians on the ground had no idea that Trump wasn't on, correct? And so they didn't shoot a missile at the plane that they thought Trump was on. Therefore, it was probably not a good report, because otherwise they would have shot the missile at that plane, and then we would have been mourning the loss of Marco Rubio and members of the press. But it didn't happen.
And the people that were with Trump, so he didn't go. He went from Air Force One. He went to another plane, an Air Force C-32A, not an Air Force One. So he went in a completely different plane that's not meant for the president, as part of the decoy operation. The people that were with him were Dan Scavino, Natalie Harp, and Walt Nauta. They're the only ones that accompanied him. The people that remained on the Trump and the aides were covertly moved from Air Force One aboard a catering truck before being transferred to a smaller Air Force C-32A.
It's all Hollywood,
and flying
folks.
Separately to Britain.
I mean, my God.
Flying separately to Britain. And then it says no cabinet officials accompanied Trump, with Secretary of State Rubio and other senior officials remaining aboard the original aircraft alongside journalists and other personnel as it served as a decoy.
A living decoy that didn't get fired upon. Oh, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so a person needed
So maybe the threat was bullshit. Yeah,
I'm in that camp as well. I'm in the camp as well. I just don't think there's always the possibility of a lone wolf.
So I want you to listen to this next part. This next part is the Navy, and the story that really should be front and center, because our young men and women are committing suicide, and this is a normal thing that happens in the military. Listen to this next one.
It's heat-seeking, right? probably.
Oh, they're talking about the plane. I'm going to move forward a little farther. Okay, we're going to get off this plane thing. Now let's get to the Navy ship.
Look for the fake hairpiece.
Yeah. All right, so there's that story. And what else do we have?
Suicides on board the USS Abraham.
Yeah, I knew it. I was going to bring it up because I know you were talking about, you've talked about this before because you spoke to a family member that had people on the link, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us more.
Well, actually, you got a minute? Let me read you something that I received today from one of my buddies.
Listen to this closely because it's really important that you understand what the U.S. government is doing to our men and women in the military. They don't care about
this was sent
it's simply
from a recently retired U.S. military officer, and he was reacting to the story in The Guardian, claiming that there had been 6 suicide attempts. And he wrote in response to that, he said, "Finally, the truth. This is making the rounds. If the Lincoln has 5,000 people on it and it hasn't seen land in 38 weeks, they are starving, no packages, rationing coffee, waiting to die from an Iranian hypersonic missile. They say the number is 6 attempts. Nearly a year at sea, no land, etc. The real number of attempts is likely 30 or 60. You have more attempts at suicide on a normal carrier operation. It's just a factor of statistics because you got 5,000 people. That's before being sent to your death on a purely political mission from someone who openly hates military members and think they are weaklings for getting hurt or dying. 6 attempts sounds like a lot, but that number is way, way too small. As an officer like them, I've had to do a number of Army Regulation 15-6 command investigations on soldiers committing suicides. All officers have. It's a normal function. Suicide is a very real and stable number too, and that's why you're still in. They have no clue what's waiting for them the first night they return home from wherever, and they have time to spend alone thinking about it, alone with nothing to distract except your only friends, Jim and Jack, referring to Jim Beam and Jack Daniels, 2 types of whiskey. Did you know they do roving patrols on all Navy ships? They call it fire guard. The term has become blanket use for all services. It means a rotating schedule to monitor the perimeter to make sure there are no fires. Wrong. The guard is to prevent people from trying to kill themselves on the spot. It's not dissimilar to the phone factories in China. Fire guard still happens today in Army basic training, when you go to the field, when you go on exercise deployments, etc. It has nothing to do with a fire. It's all about suicide prevention. Suicide is a part of the daily life in the military.
And our men and women go into the military because, one, they can't get a decent job in the United States because nobody pays a livable wage. So they go in the military thinking they're going to get benefits, and what do? They get screwed. Screwed, fucked over. And then they get killed. For what? Politics? Yeah, because politicians like to make wars so they can stuff their pockets with their bonuses from the stock options they bought and the corporations. Welcome to America, where we'll kill your kids just so we can financially get and make more money. Have you had enough of it, folks? This is the Conscious Hour. Y'all need to speak out. We need to end this cycle. We need a new America, and it sure the hell ain't coming from those elected officials that we have now. So in November, do us all a favor. Vote them all out. Republican and Democrat, flush, drain the swamp. You might find a few that are really loyal to the Constitution and the people. You don't vote them out. But the rest of them, flush the toilet. Flush it 3 or 4 times. It's a long ways down. Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour. It's your Conscious Hour.